Welcome to Inspiring Women with Laurie McGraw. I am your host, Laurie McGraw. I have spent the past 30 years in leadership, and over the years, I've come to learn one thing. Women need women, and not just any women, but inspiring women. Tune in every week to hear from women at the pinnacle of their careers and from others who are just starting out. Episodes can be found at inspiringwomen.show or subscribe on your favorite podcast app. Thanks for listening, and I hope you will be inspired. This is Inspiring Women, and I am Laurie McGraw. Today, I'm speaking with Kathy Ford. Kathy is the Chief Product and Strategy Officer for a company named Ronin, which was founded in 2018 and is focused on cancer care. Now, Kathy is a veteran in healthcare. She's worked at companies like McKesson and Siemens and Nant Health and others, but she's very focused in the area of AI and cancer care. We're going to get an opportunity here at State of Play. There's been so much investment and activity there, but should we be optimistic? And Kathy, thank you for being on Inspiring Women.
Thank you, Laurie. I'm delighted to be here.
All right, well, let's dive in. And so I always start Inspiring Women, Kathy, by talking about what are you doing right now? What's your day-to-day look like as the Chief Product and Strategy Officer of Ronin?
I am so privileged to tell you how exciting my day-to-day is at the moment working at Project Ronin. So
is that true? Is that true, Kathy? It's exciting.
Honestly, it really is. I would say this company is quite the unicorn in many ways. But first and foremost, knowing the urgency of what we're building and the needs that we're addressing for both clinicians and then ultimately for patients is a significant driver on a day-to-day basis, that there is no time to wait to put better tools in the hands of clinicians making critical treatment decisions at the point of care. And so my day-to-day is working with my 100 or so brilliant colleagues at Ronin and making sure that we are delivering our solution, adding feature functionality that continues to support our mission, and that we're also continuing to listen to our customers and to the market and make sure that we're addressing the most critical needs while inspiring and growing and attracting the most talented individuals to be a part of this mission here at Ronin. This is largely how I spend my day-to-day.
Well, Kathy, I know that you are incredibly passionate about what you do, and you've been in the healthcare tech space for quite some time. So I want to talk about, where we are, state of play of AI today. There's a lot of discussion. I don't know how much of it is hype and how much of it is promising. I'm sure you can educate us on that. But before we dive into Ronin and AI, I want to get a little bit more about you. You've done medical device, you've done specialty care products, digital health, patient engagement, and now you're very deep into AI and cancer care. So just give us a little sense of your bio sketch and how did you get here to this position today?
It's been a short 30 years, so my how time flies. Really, I fell into healthcare, or it found me rather. I did not find it. But however, through this journey and really early on, I came to realize that I was in an industry that I developed a real personal passion around. So it was not just a job. Once I could know enough about healthcare. Healthcare is incredibly complex. You're sort of a student of life in healthcare. You never know everything, but once you spend enough time, you really do see all of the problems and the significant ones. And so for me, I've been really fortunate that I've had amazing opportunities along the way to get to find what my passion is, which is innovating. I'm sort of that never satisfied kind of person. And so when I see things, could be done better, are not addressing real needs, it sort of lights a fire in me that I can't even turn off. And so along the way, I always tell people I was raised by big companies. So I'm always very grateful for my time at GE Medical, which really changed the trajectory of my career in getting to be a part of acquisitions and due diligence and really understanding more of business and technology and how to make big strides in innovation and sort of all the baselining tools and things you need to know in order to do that. So that's really how I got started. I sort of fell into it and then fell in love with it, and now am driven completely by passion and mission.
Kathy, when in these companies, I find in the big global companies, they're so large, and it's hard to see sometimes, sort of the impact, the evolution of whether it's care delivery or big strides in changing medicine. And you've always been on the ideation side of things. So, in terms of driving new products, new opportunities, new ways of delivering care. But now in your focus on AI and cancer care, let's just go there. Like, where is the opportunity? And maybe just start with, what's the state of play right now with cancer care? Are we making progress? Certainly this administration is focused and doubling down on the cancer moonshot. What are you seeing?
I love that. And that really has been my path, is to get more into the center and to greater impact, which is smaller, more nimble, faster delivery, and on more bleeding edge from a technology perspective. So in cancer, AI, of course, has been around and been evolving for a decade or more. And honestly, it started in way less complex areas like sepsis. And there's only really a small group of companies right now that are in the AI space for cancer. Why? Because cancer is likely the most complex disease out there, or in the top two. And so it's really hard to answer meaningful questions in AI unless you have a lot of time, really smart people, and honestly, a lot of money. The problem with healthcare, or the reality of healthcare, is that innovation happens over long cycles, like 7 to 10 years. Mm-hmm. Unlike any other industry, it's incredibly evidence-based, risk-adverse, and that is expensive especially with something so bleeding edge like AI. And understandably, clinicians need evidence, and that takes a whole lot of data, a whole lot of use cases, and then again, a whole lot of opportunity to publish the results and for the community to believe and adopt.
Well, I think it's interesting that you point out that, even the simple areas like sepsis, are using AI. And we all saw the recent study in Nature about the AI progress in sepsis that the founder of Bayesian Health put out there. So in terms of the opportunity for AI with cancer care, so where are you focusing? Because it is a far more complex area. We all know about the big investments of IBM Watson in that area. That certainly that was a huge amount of investment, but I'm not sure we had a huge amount of progress. So where are you starting? And maybe you could tell us a little bit about Ronin and what you're doing there.
Yeah. So at Ronin, we really believe that every clinical decision should be rooted in data and as personalized for each patient as possible, and then delivered as efficiently with the highest level of confidence. And so what we built is what we call an intelligent platform that helps clinicians make better informed decisions about treatment, so that they can make a decision that's way more personalized for that particular patient versus making a treatment decision or taking a treatment approach that's based on what 5 million patients may have seen from an outcome perspective. And we not only deliver that from a tooling perspective, but we also incorporate prediction capabilities so that these clinicians can then preempt adverse events for their patients and keep their patients engaged. So a big part of cancer care and success in cancer is, having that high level of patient engagement. Cancer is a team sport, as many people have said, and we know, and it's teaming on both sides, both on the patient care team side, but also on the clinical care team side. And so our solution really supports that entire patient journey. So keeping that patient connected to what's happening during treatment, and most importantly, giving tools to clinicians to make the best treatment decisions at the point of care as quickly as possible.
So, Kathy, you've built big platforms before, and you've brought those solutions out globally in your short 30 years of healthcare experience. So, what you're building now, what's different? Is the technology more advanced? Are the systems supporting the patient more advanced? Are the patients more tech savvy? What's different, giving you the opportunity to drive these solutions forward today versus what you did in some of your previous global company experience?
Mm-hmm. Really, the major difference is the amount of data science tooling that is utilized in this platform and this approach to drive clinical decision support at the point of care is completely disruptive to anything, even at scale over time and technology evolution, to anything that I've been a part of in the past. And, hopefully everybody knows that 50% of all cancers are preventable. And so
I actually didn't know that. I did not know that at all.
Yes, 50%. Also, there were 1.7 plus million new cancer cases in 2019, and the US leads the world in percentage of population with cancer. We're the most advanced nation in the world, arguably, I believe. And so how is it that we have the highest number of cancer cases? These two things completely don't make sense. And so it really is having enough data and gaining enough insights in order to truly change this trajectory. Cancer cases are going up right now, so we're going the wrong direction. And the only way that this is really going to be affected, and this is, of course, Larry Ellison and Dr. David Agus's vision and intention of co-founding Project Ronin, is to apply the most advanced data science tooling in order to answer the hardest questions in care. And to say, you, Kathy, for patients like you have responded best with this treatment plan, or this treatment course. And let's monitor you in real time rather than waiting for the end of the treatment to say whether it worked or not. Okay, then let's try something else. That's not only high risk as far as total outcome and moving through your disease with positive results, but it's also expensive. And drugs make up 65% of the cost of care for cancer. So if we're trying drug after drug after drug because we don't really know what is the best way to treat you as an individual, this is just contributing to sort of our macro problem in healthcare costs and expense.
Well, there's of course that side, but I think that, every person has a cancer story, whether it's a personal one or one in our families. And just the word itself has, brings with it such a degree of fear. And certainly over the course of the pandemic, I did not know that 50% of cancers were preventable, but I certainly know that cancer detection at this point is only going the wrong way because we've spent the past 2 years not seeing our physicians as we might normally go and seeking care when we would, just because of the disruption to healthcare delivery and patients seeking help. So in terms of that detection side, Kathy, if you just look ahead in such a complex area, what are you optimistic about with Project Ronin? What are the opportunities do you think that could actually? I mean, Larry Ellison, a big name, big visions. What are the types of big visions that you're thinking about?
We absolutely, the fact that we're already able to predict, for example, patients who are at high risk to go to the emergency department, that alone is already really important from a patient care perspective, cost perspective, all sorts of areas it affects. So predicting adverse events and preempting them is really important in today and tomorrow, but preventing and wellness is where absolutely Ronin will be positioned to lead the way in innovation in healthcare. And it's because of what we've built from a infrastructure and our data model approach in AI in order to ingest hundreds and thousands of unique and discrete data elements, ranging from all sorts of, clinical specifics about a patient to social determinants to financial data and then all sorts of other correlating data points, and running the math, essentially, if you will, algorithms against all of that, and asking and answering key questions to get to prevention. So if people don't know, you take diabetes, for example, this is a completely man-made disease that is 100% preventable. And so prevention, I believe, and if you look at sort of consumerism and how COVID really sort of brought that in with a fury, and probably the fastest innovation in healthcare thanks to COVID, if we are able to provide more insight to patients and clinicians in advance to get to prevention, knowledge is power, the old PSA, for my generation.
I'm right there with you, Kathy. I understand what you're saying.
This is absolutely the starting point. So if we can not only surface, here's how you can prevent it, and then here's also what it would look like if you don't prevent it, or let's answer some questions. Just going back to where Ronin's going in the near term, from a treatment standpoint, what absolutely does not exist today, and what we're building right now, is the ability to take in simulations, if you will. So right now, treatment decisions are based on best outcomes. So, and it's only what information clinicians have, and it's usually general reference data that comes from, some governance body in cancer. And so, but what none of these take into effect is what is the patient-specific burden or patient interest in that care journey. So, for example, you hear a lot from cancer patients, I just want to walk my daughter down the aisle. I just need to get to that point in my life. After that, it doesn't matter. This is the most important thing to me. How does a clinician create a treatment plan that achieves that patient goal?
Yeah, we all hear those stories, and they're so deeply personal. And Kathy, just hearing you talk about the solutions and what you're trying to drive in terms of the opportunity to bring real health opportunity in really difficult times for cancer patients, it's wonderful, because it's such a large and, like you said, complex area. Just turning back to you a little bit in your long history of launching many successful solutions out there in healthcare. What are you most proud of in the history wheel of Kathy Ford solution delivery? What are you most proud of what you've done to date?
Oh, such a great question. It's sort of like choosing your favorite child, because I've been so fortunate to get to lead and be a part of, amazing innovations that many of them are still out in the world and saving patients' lives and affecting patient care. It seems like a layup answer, but honestly, I will tell you what I'm doing at Ronin is the most exciting and the most impactful so far. And that's sort of my measure scale, my barometer is around impact to care. Maybe what follows behind that is I took the incredibly crazy risk of co-founding a company called Jellyfish Health. And we started that company to go out and solve, and address some big problems in healthcare. And back then, so this is 2013, 14 timeframe, care was moving out of the hospitals, out of four walls and into the community more so, which leaves way more sort of ambiguity and you're further away from the patient and they may or may not, be wellness focused. So, and, looking at what is preventing people from having regular care to seeing their specialists and sort of all those macro pieces. At Jellyfish, we created the first patient flow solution focused in pure outpatient care space. So what that means is really driving total efficiency for that patient journey and everybody that's involved in that journey, and knowing that the patient journey starts before they ever walk through the doors of that facility. It starts when they know they need to go see the doctor. And that is actually the entire flow, and that's the entire journey. And so making sure that, patients don't wait. I'm that type of patient that if I sit in a waiting room for 30 minutes, I'm leaving at 35.
Yeah. It's just kind of incredible after all these years. There really are so many opportunities for improvement. You're right. We are a very advanced nation, and yet our healthcare delivery in many places is broken. We all unfortunately experience that at various points in time. Just a couple other things, Kathy. I'm curious, you have done different things over your career, and a lot of listeners grapple with the question of sort of when is it the right time to make a switch from what they're doing. We're all hearing about the workforce disruption going on. And so how have you made your choices about when it's time to pursue something next? It's really incredible to hear that what you're, after all this experience, what you're doing right now is where you're feeling you're going to have the opportunity for the greatest impact. That must feel very fulfilling. So how have you made your choices along the way?
That's a great question. There are usually a couple consistent themes in the changes and moves that I've made. And honestly, the common thread there is around impact. When you sort of make the investment commitment, life dedication to the space of healthcare, it is very complex, and there's so much to know and so much to invest in to get to that point, that you really do want to continue to drive and create impact. And so for me, opportunities to do so in more areas across the continuum have been great motivators to move on to different companies and different opportunities. So the continuum specialty sort of deep dive is also very inspiring and interesting to me, and where I can also help drive and grow companies in healthcare. We need more innovation, we need more disruption, and it has to happen faster. And I've done now a fair amount of that, and so where I'm needed is what usually drives me to move to a new opportunity.
I love the focus on impact. I mean, that's such I think that is I resonate with that word as well, in terms of where can you have impact. And it's great to hear again, your just energy around this important area of healthcare. Kathy, as we close out here on Inspiring Women, we talked earlier before we got on the show here, and about just your many years of mentoring other women and really helping to promote and grow others' careers. So as we close out, I would just love to hear if any sort of last advice you might have for listeners who are at the earlier stages of their career as they look to make their own impact on this world.
Such a fantastic question that I'm delighted to answer. So one of the few things I always love to share with other female, looking to continue to advance in healthcare is be your best salesperson, because nobody else will for you. And we women tend to be overly humble. And we're very typically we're just very execution focused. Not that men are not, but women especially. And so one of the best things any woman can do for their career, whether you're in healthcare or not, but for sure in healthcare, which is still very biased gender wise with men, is to become your best salesperson. Know what you're good at, be able to articulate that, that correlates to outcomes, whether that's clinical, business, efficiencies, whatever your area is, and feel confident in doing so, that not apologetic, and humility is great, but when it comes to advancing and striving and goal achievement, you really need to own it and be proud of it. If there's one other thing I can share, this is just purely because of passion, we're all in healthcare, is know this, that your diagnosis actually comes from pathology. And years ago, when one of the last things they did for Siemens, the med board asked me to, at 7 months, to learn everything I could about digital pathology to determine whether Siemens should start a new business unit in this space. So it was, what's happening? How long is that cycle? Do we have, buy, borrow, whatever? And so I didn't know a thing about pathology, and now I know everything about it. And what I learned, which was so disturbing, is that the most accomplished pathologists across the world will tell you it is equally an art and a science, that there's so much data to understand that there is no standard. What one pathologist says is stage 2 breast cancer. Another really well-renowned one will say it's -1 stage breast cancer. There is not enough knowledge. So this is where AI will definitely help. But I tell anybody that is facing a cancer diagnosis, go get a second opinion on your pathology read. That's your DNA. You can go ask for your slides and you can send them somewhere else and go do it, because it's also reimbursed. So, and it's like $250 to get a pathology slide read.
Yeah.
So always get a second opinion on that part of your diagnosis. And patients don't know that. And they don't know that they can go to a hospital wherever they have their pathology read and ask for it. It's theirs. It's just like getting a copy of your imaging report.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that at all. And I've been around the healthcare block for quite a long time.
Tell everybody you know, if you are diagnosed with cancer, and especially some of the hardest ones like colon cancer, GI cancers, this is where false positive, false negatives happen almost the most. And so if you know anybody, just again, my PSA is go get a second opinion on your pathology. Really important.
Yeah, that is, I think, just fantastic advice, Kathy. And I really appreciate you sharing that. This has been an excellent Inspiring Women conversation. I've been speaking with Kathy Ford. And Kathy, thank you so much.
Thank you, Laurie. It's been a pleasure.
This has been an episode of Inspiring Women with Laurie McGraw. Please subscribe, rate, and review. We are produced by Kate Cruz at Executive Podcast Solutions. More episodes can be found on inspiringwomen.show. I am Laurie McGraw, and thank you for listening.